Hello friends, today we will be starting with a new session that is about constructive criticism. Now constructive criticism is something which is very important in today's day-to-day life. Now in this, what we would be talking about in this session is we would first be understanding the concept of criticism and the difference between feedback and criticism precisely. We would also understand how and what is constructive criticism all about. What are the details that we need to take care when you are handling criticism, and how do you differentiate between a constructive and a destructive criticism, and what needs to be done when a criticism is there only to bother you. One also needs to understand in this session as how do you handle criticism at work, and finally we would talk about the benefits a criticism would give to us, and also how do we let go of the criticism. To start with, let's understand what is a criticism. Now, criticism is not just a judgment, or you can say it is a judgment made by people. It can be a good judgment, it can be a bad judgment, okay? It can come from anywhere in the society, not just precisely from work, but you will have people criticizing you at a personal level, people criticizing you as a parent, they might be criticizing you as a child. You will have criticism faced at every strata of the society. Now there is a lot of reasons why people criticize you. Now people can criticize you because of jealousy. Sometimes they even criticize you because they are really your well-wishers. They really think good about you. Okay, now at work precisely, or specifically in organizations, what happens is leaders criticize you is only so that you grow in your work, you do better in your work. Okay, so every time a boss is criticizing you, it's not necessarily to let you down, but to also give you some positive returns or some positive feedback saying that you will be growing. If I have to sum it up in one line, I will say criticism may hurt your ego, okay? It is very normal for a criticism to hurt your ego, but also it also helps you to develop your creatism, okay? So your creativity gets enhanced every time you are criticized. Your way of looking towards life changes. Different aspects open up in life, and you also view it life in different angles and different fortes. Now, like Hillary Clinton had once stated, it is important to learn how to take criticism seriously and not personally. So if I have to put it up, it is very important for us to understand that if somebody is criticizing me or is criticizing us, I need not take it very personally. I need to only take it constructively, positively, and make good use of that criticism. Now, criticism happens because of four major reasons. First, whatever you share with someone, the other person has not experienced exactly the same thing. The other person has obviously experienced something different, have viewed life in a different way, and that is the reason whatever you're sharing with him is not something which is acceptable. They do not like that concept, and so they backbite you or they criticize about you once you turn around, okay? Now sometimes people also criticize you is because they are your well-wishers, like I say. They always want your well-being, your family, your best friends, your childhood friends. They are the ones who are going to look after you, always want good for you, and that is the reason they are criticizing you. The third important thing why people criticize you is obviously because they think you're too intelligent, okay? And they cannot handle your intelligence. Now that criticism is something which is negative criticism. So you need not have to pay attention to that because you know what you're doing is correct. And finally, at times there are people who criticize you is because they want to overpower you with the power that they have, okay? They want to let you down because of the power. So maybe sometimes you have a bad relation with your boss or some of your subordinates. They have more powers than you, and so they will criticize you every now and then. Any work that you do is only to let you down. Now there is a major difference between criticism and feedback. Now just like there's a difference between hurtful and helpful, okay, similarly there's a difference between criticism and feedback. Now feedback is always helpful. You always get good returns out of it, okay? So if I'm giving you feedback, it is very important to understand that I'm going to learn, I'm going to grow in it. Now, if I'm providing you feedback, I'm going to coach you. I'm coaching you. I need good for you. I think good about it. That is the reason I'm giving a feedback. Whereas in the criticism, on the other hand, leaves at times very incompetent. It leaves you with a concept where you're disheartened, you're disbelieved, your ego is hurt, and a lot of other aspects. So, but criticism need not always be hurtful. It can also become helpful if taken constructively, which is the major topic of today. Now, all the questions which I'm going to talk or which I'm going to get on my screen will be addressed towards the end. So, you all can just patiently keep putting down your questions. I will address to each question that is being put up on the screen towards the end of the session. Maybe I will be giving you an answer during the session itself, so your question becomes automatically answered. So I would ask all of you to just keep dropping your questions in the toolbox. I will address to them towards the end. Now, moving on to the session again. What's more important today in this session is to understand constructive criticism. Now, what is constructive criticism? Now, it's a very, very thoughtful feedback, I say, where people give you valuable insights about your actions, they give you valuable insights about your deeds, and they also trust you that you're going to work on that thing. You're not just going to let it go or just ignore that part of your life. So constructive criticism is somewhere where you learn about your weaknesses, you grow, you do not get defensive about it, okay? You don't want to protect yourself or do not want to defend by giving an answer to it, but instead you understand missing in your life and you learn from it and you grow or you develop it in the next time and rectify that mistake and do not repeat it. Okay, now you have to always remember, feedback is not easy to give, okay? But criticism, it's not easy to receive also. It's very difficult to differentiate between a feedback and a criticism. Okay, it all depends on the mindset of the person, also how he looks up to you, and how does he take your talk on your topic or the way you've told him. Is he taking it as a criticism? Are you hurting his ego? Is he taking it as a very good feedback? What? Okay, but in the long run, please understand, constructive criticism and feedback go hand in hand. They have to work together. Now, destructive criticism obviously is a very negative criticism, which we will be talking about it in the further sessions. Now, destructive criticism will hurt your ego, will hurt your self-esteem. They will obviously make you feel bad, make you feel guilty for what you've done. But please understand, you need to differentiate between the two initially, okay? You need not just anytime come up and say that, what am I talking about? Or why am I talking something like this? Or why is a person talking something like this to me? So it's very important to differentiate between a criticism, a feedback, between the criticism, a constructive criticism and a destructive criticism. Now, if you ever Google about a concept which is known as a Johari window, it clearly tells you how you have to differentiate between a criticism and a feedback, or how do you understand whether a person is a well-wisher to you or not a well-wisher. Now, in the Johari window model, what happens is it's a quadrant. There are 4 quadrants. On the x-axis, you have a feedback where you have known by yourself and unknown to yourself. The feedback which you know about yourself and feedback which you don't know about yourself. On the y-axis, we have expressions, or you can say exposure, which is known to others and unknown to you also. Now, if I pick up a quadrant where you know something about yourself, okay, and others also know about it, becomes a public space. People know I am good in graphics, so it's a public space. People know about it, I also know about it, it's okay. So people will obviously come back to me when they want some work to be done. But there is a space in the Johari window, one of a quadrant, where you know about your traits, but the others are unknown. People know I'm a very, very emotional person, but I know I'm a very emotional person, but I don't want people to know. So I always pretend to be very strict, I always pretend to be very straightforward, but I know what I am, okay? So that is a private space, which obviously nobody can intrude until you are permitted to. I cannot intrude into your private space and ask you private questions. Neither can you do it for me. But yes, when it is a public entity or when it is a public area, we can talk to each other about it. The third quadrant talks about a blind spot. Now, this blind spot is something which you are unknown about yourself, but others know about it completely, okay? Now, that is also known as a gossip area, you can say. that is where criticism pops up from. Okay, you feel you don't know about something, okay, and obviously others feel मुझे इसके बारे में सब पता है. Okay, could be your parents, could be your partner, but that need not be the case all the time. Okay, everybody has got their private space, be it in front of parents, in front of partners, in front of friends, or at work profile. So this blind spot is a place where criticism comes up from. And the last quadrant is an unknown quadrant which everybody is exploring day and night, which is unknown to themselves, unknown to others. They keep exploring. This unknown quadrant has to go minimum on a daily basis or gradually as your years pass by. But what we have to be careful about is the blind spot. And this blind spot is a spot where people are going to talk about you. If you talk to them about yourself, people may not accept it. People may criticize you. They might feel that they know more about you than you know about yourself. And that is a point of time where you need to differentiate between destructive and constructive criticism. Now let's understand the stages to handle criticism. Now the first stage is, if ever anybody criticizes you, ever, okay, and you're not able to differentiate between a feedback and a criticism, stop. Pause for just few seconds. You don't know that few seconds means what in your life at times, you know. Kabhi bhi gussa hai, anytime you feel angry, okay, just wait for a second. Just wait for those 2 seconds of your life, and you will realize that is it worth reverting back to that anger or reverting back to that feedback or a criticism, or should I just keep quiet and let the time speak to them, okay? Or should I constructively listen to them and work on those parts and then give it back to them in a better way, okay? So very important is, if somebody is criticizing you, constructive or destructive, I'm not talking about anything differentiating. I'm saying if somebody gives you feedback or they're criticizing you, you need to be only clear the very few seconds of your life at that point of time. You need to take a pause, okay? You need to hold back your facial expressions. You need to hold back what you are thinking, okay? And just take a deep breath, swallow down your saliva, and then think about what you want to do next. Obviously, when you immediately take that pause, you know, you understand whether you want to take benefits from there or you want to take it in a negative way, okay? So if you think that you want to take benefits from that feedback or from that criticism, it becomes a constructive criticism. Otherwise, if you feel that nahi, isne mujhe जानबूझ के नीचा दिखाने के लिए ऐसा कुछ बोला है, it becomes a destructive one, and you just let go it, just pass by it, and just finish it out there. The topic ends, okay? But if you feel it's a benefit, you're gonna have something good out of it, you obviously sit back, listen to what the person is saying then carefully, okay? So listening is very important, because more important is to listen than to talk at times. So because listening makes you understand a lot of times something that you don't even know about yourself. So listen for understanding, because somebody who's in front of you talking to you has observed you for a due course of time, and then sharing the thoughts, the feedback, the reactions, or maybe wants you to do something repeatedly or does not want you to do something at all, because it is hampering your image or your criteria, okay? Once you've listened, once the listening part is over, it's very important to say a thank you, because you're going to learn from it, right? You're going to help you for it. So you have to say a thank you. You have to say a thank you. This thank you is very difficult to say. It's a very difficult word, you know, when you have to say it to someone. But very important in life. It's because you are going to appreciate the person. So the person feels positive. The person feels, oh my God, he's going to take it seriously. Now, every time you say a thank you does not mean उसने जो बोला वो करना है. You have to do what you feel is correct. You have to sit and analyze what he said, okay, he or she has said, and then you need to figure out what you want to do and what you want to let go of the talks that were given to you. So very important, say a thank you and then sit back and understand, okay, what you want to do next. Now, if ever when you're sitting and understanding, there's a question which pops up, you either call back that person or you consult that person again, ask the question that why did the statement was made, or why does he or she feel something like this, okay? You need to question. Questioning is very important in life, okay? Like kids keep questioning, it's because there's so much of inquisitiveness. When we grow big, we feel, oh my God, sawal pooch rahe, it's going to be wrong, people are going to laugh at us. No, every time you ask, you're going to learn. And because you have asked once, there will be somebody who will get the motivation to ask the next time. So questioning is very important. And once you have finished questioning, all your queries have been answered, you've taken everything very positively, it's very important to do a follow-up. follow up innocence, you do that work again, repeat the thing again, and make sure you don't repeat the mistake that you've done, or to make sure the criticism that you've received is gone away. People start appreciating for what you've done. Sometimes you do something good, but it lands up into a mess always. Okay, there is a reasoning for it always. So when you ask a third person, he or she will be the right person to tell you कि वो क्यों गलत हो गया, why did it go wrong. Okay, so it's very important to understand that why is because next time when you repeat that thing or that activity again or that act again, you will not make a similar mistake, or you will be careful the next time. Now when you have to act, the next thing that I want to talk about is how to accept criticism at work. Okay, same things, exactly same thing like the stages, but a little few differences because it is at work and not at personal level. Now, very important, when you receive a criticism at work, you need to avoid emotional reaction. Don't cry, don't laugh, don't make a hoo-ha about it. Don't scream, don't defend yourself, okay? You need to patiently again take a pause, listen back to yourself, take a deep breath and understand what the person is saying. Don't start crying and don't start laughing, don't start giggling for unnecessary reasons. It really gives a bad impact, okay? Second, you need to listen carefully then, okay? What is the person saying? How helpful he or she is going to be like. Now, don't get defensive in advance. If you feel that maybe the interpretation of the person who's talking to you is wrong, has interpreted you wrong, then you get defensive. Then you cannot let go that person talk all the time. You have to get defensive and say, nahi, aapne jo socha wo galat tha, or what you felt was wrong. You need to get defensive only then. Don't get defensive otherwise. Listen, understand, take notes. I'm not asking you to take notes in a book कि उसने मुझे ऐसा बोला. No. I'm asking you to take notes mentally. Okay, so that those things get settled in your brain. It gets mixed with your brain hormones. And so next time when you're doing a similar act, you don't repeat it because it gets imbibed inside yourself. Okay? Ask questions, like I always keep saying. The more you ask, the more you improve. The more you ask, the more you avoid repeating the same things the next time the task is to be performed. Okay? Say a thank you. Like I keep saying, thank you is very important. The 3 magical words, thank you, sorry and please, very important in your work life. You will not be small if you say a thank you. You will not be small if you say a sorry. It will be really, really helpful to you. People are going to like when you say a thank you to them. Okay, so please understand, thank you is very, very important. Now at work, what you have to do is, you're being criticized because of your work, what you've done, okay? So when you receive your feedback, when you take notes, then you have to go back and redo that work, redo the assignment again. It's not to show it to someone or to prove it to someone, but to make sure that you've not repeated what was being told to you, okay, that you have to avoid. So you have to redo something, you have to take revisions of everything. And once you've taken a revision, please go back to the person who's given you a constructive feedback or a criticism. Go back to your boss if he or she is really friendly or very approachable to you, saying that, listen to what I've done now. Am I correct, or do I need some more improvements? Have I done something wrong still? Now see, this is how you grow in life. This is how you grow in work also. We totally understand as seniors that you are not perfect, okay? You are going to miss mistakes. But at times, what happens? We are in a bad frame of mind and we just bombard you with wrong things or wrong words. But that does not mean you need to stop coming to us. You can come to us. We are here to make the company grow, and you're also here to make a team grow. So you are a part of a team, so it's obviously you have to grow. So it's very important to go back to your boss or to your senior or to your colleague and say that you've redone the work and what do they feel about it. Very important now is to understand the benefits of constructive criticism. The first benefit is a personal growth. Personal growth means obviously you get to know your weaknesses, you work on your weaknesses, which is very important. Because of criticism, you improve, your creativity is enhanced, okay? You think of more ideas, more windows and doors are opened in life, new perspectives are open. So obviously, it becomes an opportunity for you to practice when learning. It becomes an opportunity for you to learn also and also grow with it. And more importantly, you learn the practice of forgiveness. Now, suppose if somebody is giving you a negative criticism or a destructive criticism, you don't have to go and fight with that person. The concept of forgiveness comes into you. Ki jane de, it's okay, let go, Next time karega to we'll take care of it. So that is important. Every time you feel angry, you just think of one thing. I always do this. When you think of one thing, or somebody has given me something negative, I always think, if next time he does it, I'm going to give it back to him. This time let do it. If next time so every time I do this, okay, it's not that next time I deti hu usko, but next time I will give it back to him. Next time I'm going to give it back and answer to him. I'm going to make sure I answer him back. When you do all this, believe me, you forgive, you start learning forgiveness, your patience increase, your temperament goes, you become more tolerant in life, you have a personal growth altogether, okay? The next benefit obviously is emotional benefit. Emotional benefit in a sense, you learn problem solving, you also learn to be sensitive, you also know how to balance your emotions. You don't have to cry, laugh all the time, so you know how to balance out your emotions. You know which are your sensitive spots, so you know which are your private areas, so how much you have to open up to people, how much you don't have to open up to people. It also gives you an intuition wala development. Your intuitions develop every time your criticism or feedback is given to you. It's because your intuition tells you whether it is a constructive one or a destructive one. Your intuition tells you whether it is good or bad, okay? So it is very important that emotionally your sixth sense or your intuition has to grow every time you take that pause, that 5-second pause which I've told you. Take the pause, your intuition has to grow. Take the pause, your intuition, your sixth sense will grow. You know why? It's because it will tell you, wo sahi hai ki galat. Do I take it seriously? Do I not take it seriously? How much do I take it seriously? How much do I just ignore it? That has to grow with age also. That is known as maturity. Maturity is not doing the things on time or growing in life, earning big. Maturity is this emotional balance, is maturity, which automatically will come gradually in your life. Now, very important in today's world, because more than constructive criticism, you have destructive criticism. And how do you deal with destructive criticism? First, sort. When I say you have to sort what is constructive and what is destructive, that sorting happens in that pause which I've told you, okay? Then you understand what is the person who's giving you criticism's true motive. Is he a well-wisher? Is he wanting to let you down? Is he just pretending to be a well-wisher, or is he just being very harsh on you? Is he disturbed himself and wants you to be disturbed also? Is he sadistic in nature? All these things will help you understand the person's true motive. Once you understand what the truth is, okay, remember the words that criticism should help you emotionally or social development and not personally any kind of disturbance, okay? So you need to remember that words can never hurt you. Intentions, they can never hurt you. It is you who has to grow. It is you who has to make that circle around you, a fence around you, okay, what is going to come in your private and what is not going to come in your private life, okay? For that, you have to be confident. You have to be confident and very clearly state that no, this was not the way, or this was not the case. What you're saying or interpreting is wrong. I meant something. The justification giving is at times very important in today's world, because today the world of messages, I might type a message with the emotion of sarcasm. The person in front of me or who's reading the message might read it as a very serious message, okay? Or I might type a message saying that it's a fun message or a very serious message, and the person might take it in the opposite direction. So it's very important to justify what you're saying, to be confident when what you're giving a justification, and also to keep doing what you are doing if you are doing correct, okay? It's not important for you to say that every time you're wrong. No, you cannot be wrong all the time, okay? There are times when you can be wrong. There are times when continuously you are wrong, for 7-8 times you go wrong, but that does not mean that you will go wrong all the time henceforth also. So keep doing or keep redoing things to learn from it, okay? If not at your professional front, personal front, keep redoing it, keep learning for yourself. Now, it is very important to let go such kind of criticism. Now, when do you let go criticism? Very important when a criticism is disturbing you for a long period of time. So you let go the criticism or you let go that person itself. If there is a person in your life who continuously criticizes you and never praises you, okay? I'm not talking about parents, I'm not talking about your siblings, I'm talking about somebody who's an external person who continuously criticizes you and enjoys when you are disturbed, okay? You have to let go of that person. You have to let go of that individual also. Sometimes there are few comments which also, bother you a lot. You cannot do much about it. You cannot change the situation which was done, okay? So at that time you have to just let go of that comment also. You cannot let that thing disturb you for a longer period of time, because if it's disturbing for a longer period of time, nothing can be changed. Okay, it's gone means it's gone, you cannot change it. Second, you do not have to take criticism too personally. Personal criticism can only be given to people who are private in your life, whom you have given the right to intrude your private space. Nobody else in your life, nobody else around you can give you personal criticism. Okay. And third, if there is no solution to what criticism is being given to you, okay, you cannot find a solution to it, you let it go, because there's nothing way out. If there's no solution, कुछ नहीं कर सकते ना, there's no way out. If a maths problem है, you don't come up to a conclusion in a paper, what do? You leave that sum, right? You say I will come back to it. You make sure you do the next sums correctly, because उसकी वजह से मेरे marks जाने वाले, दूसरे perfectly करूँ मैं. Exactly same thing as life, you know. If there is no solution to the problem which is being told to you, or a criticism which is given to you, just finish it up, let it go, forget, छोड़ो जाने दो, देखा जाएगा वाला system, you know. That is important. At times let going is also important in life. It's very, very important, believe me. So if I have to sum it up everything, we have to understand it's important to accept criticism very positively, not on a personal note, okay, not emotionally, but very, very strongly, confidently. You have to take it constructively. If you don't know how to take criticism constructively, please read a lot about how do you understand people's psychology. Read lots about criticism, difference between all of them, different styles of criticizing people, so you'll understand what is good and what is bad. Okay. Now, when you are interacting with people, okay, please understand you're going to improve yourself. So criticism is there for your improvement. If it is a constructive criticism, if it is a constructive criticism, it is for your betterment. Your weaknesses are going to grow, they are going to go down, because you're going to work on those weaknesses. Like I said, your creativity is going to be enhanced. Undoubtedly, you will be facing criticism in all stratas of societies. Okay, ज़रूरी नहीं है हर strata of society में you will get an answer. ज़रूरी नहीं है every strata of society will give you a constructive criticism. So differentiate between them. Okay, take the negative ones and flush them off. Take the positive ones and imbibe in yourself and learn from them. Okay, to have a successful and a happier life. The minute you think more of the negative criticism and not take the positive one seriously, believe me, you will always be restless, stressed and disturbed in your life, and you will make everyone around you disturbed. Okay, everyone around you restless. So it's very important to take only the positive ones. Now please understand, the summation of all that I've given, you know, in last 20, 25, 30 minutes is something which is very clear. You have to believe in yourself first. You need to know that what you're doing is correct. You need to understand what you're doing is right or wrong. The minute you can't face yourself, your conscience says ye aapne galti ki hai, then you are wrong. Then you have to correct yourself. So you have to believe in yourself. You have to believe in what you're doing every time. And minute you don't believe in yourself, there is a scope for improvement. So instead of getting defensive there, you open up yourself and work. You open up yourself and learn, and you grow. Okay. So that's all from my end. How to handle criticism, how to handle constructive criticism, differentiate between them. Now I'll go back to your questions, which is important. The first question says, how do I avoid criticism while giving feedback? Now when you're giving a feedback, okay, place yourself in someone's shoes whom you're giving a feedback. The way you talk to that person, will you like if somebody is talking to you that way? If yes, then it is a feedback. It is not criticism. Okay. If you're not hurting someone emotionally, you are just explaining someone, you're just mentoring someone. Okay. Then it is a feedback and not criticism. And your criticism is also constructive criticism and not a destructive one. So first, place yourselves in the shoes of the others and then understand whether you should talk like that or you should not, or there is another way to deal with the problem. Okay. Now somebody is asking me to define the concept of criticism. Now there is no definition. Like, I'm not here to define, you know, I'm not here to give you definitions from the textbook. Okay. The criticism is something which is given to you for the act, work or task that you have done. Okay, by somebody who either is a well-wisher or your subordinate or your senior or your parent or your family or your friend. Okay, if it's given by an external person who are none amongst them, you need to differentiate between why that person is given to you and how seriously you need to take that person's criticism or a feedback given. Now, when to use feedback and criticism? Now, feedback is generally used when you're mentoring someone, okay, or when you are looking up for someone. If you are taking care of someone, somebody comes and tells you, I've done a work, give me a revert on it, it's a feedback. Okay, but if somebody is doing a task and the task is complete, then you give a criticism. Okay, like you liked it or you don't. So when somebody is sharing with your opinions or somebody is sharing their experiences, you don't even ask for your feedback. They give me a feedback whether my experience was good or bad. That time they ask for your opinion. So opinion becomes your criticism. Okay, now criticism is only meaning of helpful. Criticism is only meaning of helpful. Like I said, no, criticism can be hurtful also. That is destructive criticism. Criticism cannot just be helpful. It can be destructive also. It can be hurtful also, where you're hurting someone's emotions, ego, self-esteem, anything of that sort. Then your criticism is hurtful and it becomes a destructive criticism. Can you ask something? Examples of criticism? Can I give you some examples? I think it basically interprets. Can I give some examples of criticism? Okay, examples of criticism. The first example could be where I tell them, I don't like what you're doing. That's criticizing somebody. Okay, I'm kidding. So yeah, I did not like the movie. It was really not nice. That's a feedback that I'm giving. Okay, but when I directly go and tell the director, it was a rubbish movie. I did not like it. It was horrible, or I did not like the way you spoke. That is criticism. That is what is an example of criticism. Now, it is up to the director to take it personally, to take it professionally, to take it as a constructive one, to take it as a destructive one. How he wants to take me as a viewer, my feedback for him, or my criticism to him. So, critics give criticism. Then you have, how do you judge whether it is criticism or point out faults, again giving suggestions or rectifications. Now, how do you judge? Like I said, take a deep breath. Intuition, your intuition has to say. आपका दिल, your heart, your brain has to say, your conscious has to say whether it is good or bad. Your conscious has to say whether you have done correct or you have done wrong. If you've done correct, your conscious is saying, no, I've done correct, which means you've done correct. So you need to justify the person in front of you. You need to rectify something you've done wrong then, okay? If entire act karte samay, you've done something wrong, you've hurt somebody's emotion, go and rectify it. Okay, that is a suggestion that was given to you. You've heard somebody, while you were performing in a presentation, you gave an example about somebody and the person is hurt about it. So then you have to go and say, oh, sorry. Otherwise, if it's a criticism, how do you judge? You need to understand where it is coming from, how it is coming, how important it is. Also, the deeds that you have done, the act that you have done, how good it was or how correct it was. If your act was correct, if your act was good, maybe the person is just wanting to let you down and so he's just criticizing you. Difference between criticism and communication. Communication is what we're talking. Okay, when two people are talking. Okay, criticism is when two people are sharing their opinion. One person is only sharing the opinion and the other person is just made to listen. Okay, now it's by choice or by force. The other person is just made to listen about what he or she has done in life. That is criticism. But when I leave it open for a two-way conversation, it's a communication. Like if I leave it open saying that, okay, I feel this. Okay, you tell me, what do you think about it? I feel this. Am I right or wrong? If the person says, no, you were wrong, I meant this, then it's a communication. But I just go and tell, what you did was wrong, this, blah, 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 then that's a criticism. That's not communication.